we understand that there is very little that is consistent and static with the corporate parties. However, with the Green Party is grounded in its values. Now, why is it that we participate in the political process to start with? It's not about a horse race. It's not about a fashion show. It's not about a beauty contest. It's not about popularity. It's about making sure that our values are reflected in public policy. And that's why I've decided that it is now time, past time, it was past time, for me not only to declare my independence as the women who were the suffragists declared their independence from the current political order in order to create something new. It was time for me to leave the Democratic Party, which no longer reflected my values. And I think that the contradictions between what the Democratic Party says and what it does are very clear now before the American people.
Let me ask you about a quote of Amiri Baraka, who was very critical of your run. He said, the people who are supporting Mckinney must know that this is an empty gesture, but too often such people are so pocked with self-congratulatory idealism that they care little or understand little about politics, i.e. the gaining momentum and use of power, but want only to pronounce to themselves mostly how progressive or radical or even revolutionary they are. Your response, Cynthia Mckinney?
Well, of course, I know Amiri Baraka well, have been to New Jersey to campaign for his son, campaign with him. And so, you know, of course, he is entitled to his opinion, and I respect him greatly. However, I do differ. As I just discussed, the definition of politics is the authoritative allocation of values in a society. And if a political party no longer or fails to represent my values, then what am I supposed to do? The people of Venezuela voted their values, and they got real substantive change. They got their values being implemented in public policy. People in Chile and Argentina, people in Ecuador and Bolivia, people in Haiti, people in Cote d'Ivoire vote their values. People in Mexico voted their values. They had an election that was stolen, but then they shut down Mexico City for 5 months. Now, what are we supposed to do? Give up on our values? No. We press our values in the political system through the process that is made available to us.
What do you mean?
The Green Party has made it possible for us to press our values in very much the same way that the Democratic presumptive nominee went before the Cuban American National Foundation and enunciated a certain set of values in very much the same way that the Democratic presumptive nominee went before AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, and enunciated certain values that will be reflected in public policy. It is incumbent upon those of us who share these values rooted in the founding principles of the Green Party to press our values in the political system.
What do you
that's what we're doing.
What do you make of Senator Obama's trip to Iraq and Afghanistan, to talking about a timetable for pullout? Nouri al-Maliki saying he shares his view, though he was castigated, it looks like, by the president. And Senator McCain saying Barack Obama has the most extreme record in the Senate, suggesting perhaps he's a socialist.
Well, of course, we understand bombast, and that's what we're going to be subjected with throughout the remaining period of this election, is a lot of bombast. At the end of the day, though, I think that what Maliki was saying is that nobody wants to see their country occupied. And so the withdrawal as quickly as possible from Iraq, also withdrawal from Afghanistan, as Rosa has pointed out. This withdrawal is not really a withdrawal. It's just a shift over to Afghanistan. Let us remember what the late foreign minister of the UK reminded us all of about al-Qaeda. He reminded us that al-Qaeda was the CIA's Rolodex. So let's understand exactly what we are dealing with. We need a different foreign policy. We need a foreign policy that is grounded in the respect for human rights, that respects self-determination, that respects democracy and the will of the people. That is the foundation for a peaceful forward deployment of U.S. assets and resources around the world in such a way that we are actually helping people, lifting people up. We do not have to deliver bombs and missiles and military technology and nuclear technology to countries in order to make them submit to U.S. will in fear. We can make friends with peace.
Will you be campaigning in swing states like Ohio and in Florida that could perhaps have for 1 or 2 percentage point difference between the candidates?
As I mentioned earlier, we are in a situation where people can go to the polls today and their votes not be counted. We do not have the assurance of election integrity. In a situation where we do not have election integrity, I don't think it's possible for anybody to talk about 1 or 2 percentage point difference when we've got the electronic voting machines, we've got central tabulation, manipulation, we've got problems with people even being able to cast their vote.
Are you concerned
I will go wherever there are marginalized, alienated, and disfranchised people who need the voice and the message of the Green Party.
Are you concerned about helping McCain beat Obama?
The Republicans have done a pretty fine job of stealing 2 presidential elections, and I would cast my eyes at them and the voter ID laws and the voter caging and the electronic voting machines and the administration of elections where people can actually get inside the voting booth, cast 1 million votes, and their votes not be counted. That's where I would be looking. Don't look at the Green Party and suspect that the Green Party is doing anything other than exercising its obligation to provide voters choice.
And the difference between your campaign, your Green Party presidential bid, and Ralph Nader's independent presidential bid?
I think it's clear that when you have a political party, we have over 200 elected officials. Of course, I think it's also important for people to understand that the Green Party is an international entity. The former Nobel Peace Prize winner from Kenya was a member of the Kenyan Parliament. Wangari Maathai was a member of the Kenyan Parliament, a Green Party member. Ingrid Betancourt, who was recently released in Colombia, ran for president as a member of the Green Party. So the Green Party is making public policy in other parts of the world. The Green Party needs to have the opportunity to make public policy here in this country.
How many states are you on the ballot, Congressmember McKinney, Cynthia McKinney?
We hope to be on the ballot in at least 40 states around the country. Of course, you know that ballot access laws are very difficult, and therefore it at this point remains unseen as to whether we will get more than 40 or fewer than 40. It won't be very much fewer than 40. But we would hope to be on as many ballots as possible. For example, in the state of Georgia, we haven't had the opportunity to vote for a Green Party member, period, because the Green Party has not been on the ballot because the laws are so difficult. However, in California, there are so many political parties, voters have choice.
Rosa Clemente, you wanted to weigh in here. Yes.
Just very quick. Well, one thing about Ralph Nader and Matt Gonzalez is Ralph Nader sent out his congratulations to me and Cynthia last week and made it very clear that we are not competing for votes. We have to end the two-party system. In 2003, I, along with 13 other people, helped create the National Hip Hop Political Convention. In 2004, Anna Noguera, one of your producers, interviewed me, and I remember saying to her, if we as a hip hop generation don't make some real power moves by 2008, we're going to be in a very desperate situation for the next 30 years. I see me being